Hello everyone, I'm Jensen Denoyes here for a new and exciting episode of Hero in You.
Hi, and I'm Lizandra Gomes. Hero in You is an educational program that focuses on self-growth and self-development. The purpose of our show is to discuss a topic and see how it relates to our lives so we can
Find the hero in you.
That's right.
Today's topic is about relationship building. Franklin D. Roosevelt once said, if civilization is to survive, we must cultivate the science of human relationships, the ability of all peoples of all kinds to live together in the same world at peace. Especially as people, we're always actively seeking relationships with others, friends, families, and even old acquaintances. It's our nature as human beings to want that closeness with others.
Relationships are also the connections people have with each other. Every human being has a deep desire to be connected with others, regardless of age or gender. To truly understand the importance of relationships, we had to ask our guests their point of views on relationship building.
Our first guest is a group of students coming from Brockton High School. They are part of this group called Fam for Change. Partnered with Bridgewater State University mentors, these students serve as leaders in their community and advocates for social justice.
Then we have film director Nubi Rato from the critically acclaimed documentary Step Up Fatherhood, who'll share his thoughts on this topic.
And finally, we have the first mayor of Brockton, Mayor Linda Balzotti, to give us her point of view on relationship building. You don't want to miss that.
Definitely. Now, the first question we asked our guests is when they meet someone for the first time, what's the first thing they do? And also, follow-up is very critical.
That's right.
So after they meet someone, how exactly do they follow up?
The first thing that I do when I meet someone is say, hi, how are you? My name is Erica. And if I'm trying to follow up with the person, I would ask for their email or phone number.
Usually when I meet someone for the first time, I make sure to shake their hand, have good eye contact, try to find out a little bit about them, ask them maybe where they work, ask them maybe a little bit about their family, try to get a feeling of who they are as an individual and not just, a business person or a constituent, but just try to get to know them a little bit.
Well, I'm very blessed in the business I am to meet a lot of different people, different cultures, different races. So, it's always, the steps that you take to make someone feel like you genuinely care about what they're talking about, and which I do. So the first thing when I meet someone is I want people to understand that I care about what you're talking about, and I care about their feelings, and I care about their intentions. I may not necessarily be able to help somebody in that way, but I want them to understand that I'm sympathizing with them and I care about their intentions. So I think the most important thing when you first meet someone is to understand that you genuinely care about their intentions and what they want to do.
I do is I say hi, how you doing? I'll shake their hand, introduce myself, just talk to them, just do stuff like that. I try to get to know them more before I start talking to them. But I follow up on them.
Follow up, well, first and foremost, just in terms of, there's two types of follow-ups. There's business and then there's, friendship follow-up. In terms of business, I always want to follow up with an email. Follow up with an email saying, I appreciate you. For example, we do shows. I'm a documentarian. We do shows over at different college campuses and so forth. So if someone goes to a show or someone makes a donation, I always make it a personal goal of mine to either call them or email them to say thank you. I'll give you an example. Someone made a $100 donation to our last documentary, and he didn't have to do that. What I did was, first of all, I called him, I thanked him, okay, and I mailed out an autographed free copy of a film, and I printed out a photo picture to say thank you, just to generally people to understand that, you know what, not only was your kind act and your approach was appreciated, what I'm saying, I respect it, and you can't go assuming that people are gonna, appreciate you.
Well, it will all depend on why I met them. If it's somebody that's interested in coming to the office, then we'll make sure that we have contact with them in terms of meeting or coming in. Sometimes I write a little note. Or if it's somebody that really I just met and we're not necessarily going to be in any kind of partnership, I just always try to remember the name and have a business card so that if I see them again, I can always be friendly and remember who it was and have a little conversation with them.
Ladies and gentlemen, follow-up is a very critical step to establish trust in a relationship. There are many ways that you can follow up. Like Erica from Fam for Change says, Email and phone numbers can help stay in contact with someone. Holidays, for instance, are a perfect time to send a message thanking someone or hoping to hear from them again. You don't have to wait for a special day. However, contacting the person should be something you do with occurrence.
Now that we understand that follow-up is vital, let's see how relationship building is important to our guests in their industry or organization.
Right.
Relationship building is important to Fan for Change because we meet new people every year and we get new mentors every year. So we basically have to connect with other people or else our relationships or Fan for Change won't work.
You have to have a mentor mentoring mentees, and you build off of them. They give you advice for certain things. So like it teaches you how to you have basically a good friend to teach you how to handle certain situations.
It's relationship building is so crucial in my industry, particularly in the work that I'm doing, because relationship building is all about what? It's all about trust. And if someone can trust you, then they're willing to tell you their story. I do documentaries. I'm a documentarian. So what I want initially, before I even interview someone, is develop that they can trust me. And they can trust me and respect me that I'm going to tell their story in a respectful way. So when I meet different people, when I do documentaries, before I even turn on the camera, I want to establish trust. That, you know what, I'm going to do your story justice. And I think I've done a good job at that because the stories that people tell me and the emotional stories that people tell me. I mean, sometimes someone told me, secrets in their life that they never told anyone else that they're telling in my documentaries. So it proves to me that, they generally trust that I will do their story justice. So trust is a huge thing in relationship building.
Well, really, that's what government's all about. It's all about building relationships with the employees who serve the city. It's building relationships with the residents of the city who vote for you and who you are here to serve. But it's also about building relationships with individuals at the state and federal level so that you can tell them all the great things that are going on in your city and then hopefully get their support either financially or whatever it may be, but to get them to recognize what your city is and the potential in your city. So it's relationships. That's really what government and public service is all about. It's relationships with people.
It is important to have relationships because being connected to others help us survive in the world. In order to be successful, not only in careers, but also to have a happy life, we have to be associated with other people who require their input. The late, great Christopher Reeve once said, "The key to success is letting relationships in your life grow to the highest levels they possibly can." Ladies and gentlemen, we need to have meaningful relationships. We need to know true friendships as well as trustworthy business partnerships. Business partnerships, as we learned from our last guest, is equally important.
Speaking of trustworthy partnerships in the work environment, we asked Mayor Linda Balzotti how relationship building plays a major role in a business point of view. Here's what she had to say.
Well, it's critical because it's a couple of things. One is obviously, you want businesses in the city, and so you want them to have a good feeling about the city, so you want to build a relationship with them so you can show them your city. But in addition to that, it's also those kinds of business relationships at the state and federal level where might be funding available or assistance available or some kind of help to make a big project happen in the city. So you want to make sure that you have the right connections. It's a lot of networking. This person knows that person who knows that person who might be able to help you. It's a lot like just being in business for yourself or even trying to find a job. It's the same kind of thing.
Indeed, Mayor Balzotti, developing relationships can be very important in the success of a business in many ways. Remember, building good business doesn't happen overnight. Yeah. But once you develop that relationship with a colleague, put that same amount of energy in keeping that relationship. Like Mayor Balzotti said, you have to make sure that you have the right connections.
Absolutely. Dr. Martin Luther King has a quote that says, "We are caught in an inescapable network of mutuality, tied in a single garment of destiny. What affects one directly affects all indirectly." This quote is a great example of social media. Social media such as Twitter and Facebook, now plays a major role in how relationships develop through time. How has social media impacted our relationships?
Social media has impacted Fan for Change because that's how we tell the mentors and mentees for like how to do certain, because we do community service, so that's how we tell people, oh, so we're meeting up at this place to help out the people for this situation. So that's how we keep in contact with people.
Well, in a couple of ways, actually. If you talk a little bit before I became mayor, when I campaigned for mayor, we used social media because it's free. It's a free way to get your message out, and more people are utilizing it for whatever reason. So you can get, and it's your message. It's not what somebody else has edited or changed your message to be. It's your words. But in addition, we're using social media now in my office in terms of trying to get out information about the city. You know, when there's a snow parking ban or there's trash removal changes or whatever it is, social media is one of the ways in which we try to get information out and to make people aware of what's going on in the city. And it's a great tool because it's free. My staff's trying to get me to do Twitter now. I haven't quite jumped on Twitter yet, but we do Facebook. We have our website, and I know eventually they'll get me onto the Twitter Express.
Social media in terms of just Facebook, the Twitters and all that, it's huge because it's affecting my relationships, because the theory of face-to-face communication is over. So what happens is, if you meet, if I meet someone for the first time, a lot of times they generally don't know how to communicate their message. They rather just do it on Facebook and on Twitter and so forth. So let's say you go out for a job or something, or someone approaches me, or a client may approach me for whether a video or something, and they don't know how to communicate the right way because they're so used to communicating on social media. Their perception may not be what they want it to be. So if I'm writing emails all day, Facebook, Twitter, and I figure out how to do the eye-to-eye communication, your perception and people personally, for me, I wouldn't respect you as much if you came to my face or, talked to me face to face or on the phone, because that communication for me is more personable. So I think what Twitter and Facebook has done is taken out the person in communication, which I think is crucial. I think that's why there's so many, relationship problems out there between work, between, just romantic relationships, is people generally don't know how to communicate with each other, because if there's something wrong, they'll run to their Twitter rather than actually call someone and say, hey, this is the problem, this is what got me mad, this, that, and the other.
Social media helps us meet new people. It helps us keep in contact with people after they leave the program, or it helps us keep in contact when we go on vacations. So social media plays a big role in Fan for Change.
Honestly, social media for me has helped my relationships. It helped me stay in contact with friends, family, old acquaintances, professors. And one thing that's really great about social media is it also helps us stay in contact with our fans and audience of Hero and You with our website, www.heroandyou.com, and also at Hero in You on Twitter.
Good.
How has social media impacted you?
It's been positive experience.
That's good.
Just like you, I've reconnected with professors,
Right.
teachers, and friends. So being able to keep in touch has been a good thing.
Right.
And also, just like you said, advertising,
Right.
in a way or another. It's a free tool, so why not take advantage?
Exactly. But of course with moderation.
Of course, everything in life is.
Yeah.
Now that we understand the importance of relationship building, we would like to hear how it has impacted our guests' lives. Let's take a look.
It helped me because sometimes on the way you'll need help from someone, so you can easily go to a teacher or something, just build up off of them, and just they'll help you. It's better that way. If you make new friends and build off of them, because in the future you don't know when you're gonna need them.
Relationship building is important to me because I mentioned it a little bit before, is trust, where in terms of business, trust is huge, because if someone's investing time and, more importantly, money, especially in this recession, they gotta be able to trust that they have a good relationship with you and trust that you're doing things the right way. So it's impacted me because right now I graduated from college. It's not all fun and games anymore. It's not, just being friends with someone and networking. I actually have to do it right now to make a living, to pay off my student loans, to pay off my car insurance. So now, trust and communication is not just about being a happy, friendly guy. It's about life. If I don't have, trust and communication and respecting others, everything else is going to fall apart, emotionally, financially, spiritually. All that stuff is going to be a roller coaster, and it's going to be an avalanche.
Developing relationships is important to me because, for instance, like, yeah, I do have a mentor. We build off of them. They teach us how to handle situations and how to overcome certain things.
Well, you know, without relationships, I really truly wouldn't be mayor. I mean, I was born and raised in the city, and it's all the people that supported me my whole life, through my childhood, through my jobs here, through living in the city, that were the people that came out and did the campaign work for me, that voted for me, that continue to encourage me, and even in the bad days give me words of inspiration to keep me going when sometimes it gets tough. But that's all relationships. I mean, I wouldn't be here without them. I would never have been able to be the first female mayor of this great city if I didn't have those kind of relationships to help me get here. Nobody gets any place alone.
People are only human. They have their own ways of living their lives. Everybody's different. No two people are the same. It can be difficult to get along with everyone, but to build meaningful relationships, we must learn to understand and accept one another. Like Nubi Rato said, it's about trust, communication, and respecting others.
Absolutely. Speaking of communication, we should talk about our social that we had at Panera Bread, the Hero in You meetup. We had our friends Maria Mendez and Paulo Gomes come together at a round table and we discussed the importance of relationship building. Hey, we should play the clip right now.
Yeah.
I think when you meet someone professionally, it's sort of easier to break the ice because you're automatically going to speak in like a work type tone or work way. Like, you know, I think the first question would be, so what do you do? Or where do you work for? And then start the conversation that way, that when it's personal, it's a little harder, especially depending on where you are. I mean, the environment might help. If you're like at a friend's house and it's more like a casual setting, you might be, oh, how do you know so-and-so, and then go on from there. But I would say it's easier to meet somebody and like break the ice and start a conversation in a professional manner than in a personal manner. What do you think?
I don't know, for me it depends. Like I try to read off people, like the social cues, what's going on in the atmosphere around us, what attracted me to you, why are we having a conversation, and then from there just really build a conversation on, you know, things that attracted me to you in the first place. You know, it might have been a work-related issue that we're dealing with, might have been, you know, something else. Maybe I think someone would be a good person to network with, and I think they have excellent qualities that I would like to maybe be able to learn from. So then I'd go right to the point and start asking questions and hopefully be able to start a dialogue with that person.
So how do you know when to talk to that person and when not to talk? It's basically like when to stop talking to that person. Because like you said, it's easier maybe when you go to a professional setting, like when you go to a conference, for example. You know, you meet people that probably have different backgrounds, or they come from the same background career-wise. And then it's hard sometimes because the most famous person has a lot of people around them. So it's either you get someone to introduce you to that person, or you have to get your way to that person. But what if that person's not interested, or looks not interested?
If I can read off you know how they say like 65 to 75 of communication is done non-verbally. So like just really reading the person's social cues non-verbally, and then going from there. Like if they're looking at me or if they're smiling while they're looking at me, then I can tell that it's probably a good time to start a conversation. If you know they look anxious or busy or like they have a lot of things on their mind, then I wait for
What's the first thing you think someone to develop trust?
I think with time too, you work with that person in different roles. You see them, it might be a professional role, but then you guys might go out after work, so you see them in different atmospheres, and that really helps you to see the character of that person. How does that person act in different settings? Really start to build that trust that you would initially want. But I definitely agree that that's time and that's working together, that's seeing the person in different lights and then going from there.
What do you think?
I totally agree. I totally agree. Trust is something that it doesn't happen overnight. It takes time, and that's part of relationship building, relationship developing. You know, when you try to build that when you're trying to build a camaraderie with someone, it takes time. And it's like everything that's built in life, from a building to a car, it takes time and it takes a process. And I totally agree. With the trust, it also takes some time too.
Yeah, and I would add to that when you meet somebody, going back to what we talked about, that initial meeting has, like the initial interaction has to be something that is honest, that you really put yourself, you know, not vulnerable, but in the sense that you're being honest with the person, you're being yourself with the person, and that sort of serves as your like foundation to be able to continue to grow and earn that trust and network and whatever else that relationship has to come, whether it's just a professional relationship or personal, whatever it might be.
It's easier. That's when I say it's easier if it's just work related. It can be more challenging if it's personal. There's ways to find out, like you said, there's different lights of people, different shades, different interactions that you have with that person that might say a lot negatively or positively. So, well, I guess I just try to stay away. If it's like professionally, let's just leave it at that. 5 o'clock. I mean, I can mingle with my coworkers and that, but just let's not just get it mixed up, because then it can get a little bit more complicated. Then the trust issue can play. But other than that, it's just going with time and you find out.
How do you maintain a relationship?
It's really important to know the purpose of your relationships. And if we have a personal relationship, of course I'm going to stay in contact. You're going to know about my doings, my accomplishments. I want to know about yours. And we don't have to talk every day or, on a certain schedule, but I think the main motive of the relationship is very, very important. That will guide how that relationship will continue. But staying in touch is key. It's something that you want to last long, that is meaningful.
We might not be on the same page. We might know the purpose of our relationship, like we just met today, and it happened that we met on the social, and we can take it from here, right? But what if I know someone that can interest you later on in life? But I'm thinking we could be good friends, So not being clear on your relationship might later on burn bridges, which I think is something that we never want to do. Yeah, anyway, you never want to do. Yeah, I don't think we touch upon that actually during the bridges, which we normally do a lot. Sometimes voluntarily, sometimes just happen to do.
You never know who you're gonna need or run into, or where your next path, like where this path takes you. You do not know what's down the line, and to burn bridges is, I think, one. No. Some relationships you realize that this is it, but there's a way to end it. So if I see you, I'm gonna still acknowledge you. We're gonna have a conversation. It doesn't have to go, yes, deep of a conversation, but you never want to make it so that when I see you, it's like, there he is going that way. You know?
That was a really awesome social. We had a great time with Paulo and Maria.
Yes.
I really like the fact that Maria mentioned the importance of honesty in a relationship. If a relationship doesn't have honesty, well, it practically has no relationship.
Yeah, it was a very interesting point that she brought into relationship building. Right. We oftentimes forget that honesty and trust is very vital to any relationship, so let's make sure we keep it.
Yes.
Yeah.
And also, we can't forget about Paulo Gomes. He made a really great suggestion about communication, that eye-to-eye contact is essential.
It is.
It shows that you whatever the person is saying, you find it very important, and it's also a common courtesy, of course.
Exactly. Otherwise, you might think that person's not interested in what you're saying, which you won't like it, and I don't think anyone does.
No. Now that's when you're burning bridges.
Yes, definitely.
In conclusion, we've learned how relationship building plays a significant role in our lives. The final example the program wants to present is coming from comic book issue number 14 of Justice League, as this issue really sums up to grasp the concept of Martin Luther King Jr.'s quote, and it relates back to relationship building, and I quote, "We are caught in an inescapable network of mutuality, tied in a single garment of destiny." The first sentence describes the Justice League in their entirety. They are tied together for life, and they must work together to save the world, particularly from this villain named Cheetah in this issue. Their destiny is to work together and stop this injustice plagued by Cheetah. Whatever affects one directly affects all indirectly. In the instance of Cheetah, Superman is affected by her superpowers, hypnotized and out of control as he is under Cheetah's spell. This hurt Flash, not physically, but emotionally, because as he put it in the issue itself, Superman is a very important man, and he means a lot. If anything should happen to Superman, then the whole world is in trouble. Basically, whatever affects the core of the Justice League indirectly affects the universe around them. Just like the Justice League comic book has shown how people need Superman in Justice League, in the real world, people need people. Ladies and gentlemen, think about it. If God wanted us to be alone, trust me, we would have been alone already.
Oh, yeah.
So it's clear, people need people. Therefore, we need to learn how to develop relationships. Now that's how you find the hero in you. If you want to share how you're building relationships with others in your community, please follow us on Twitter at HeroInYou, and also check out our website at www.heroinu.com. I'm Jensen Denoyes along with Lizandra Gomes for a new and exciting episode of Hero in You. And yes,
You can find the hero in you.